Alright, hello, can you guys hear me? The reason I'm having this talk and the reason I haven't had a lot of talks in the past, like, I want to say 3 weeks, is just because a lot of things have been going on. Like, my sister got married, I started school, like, just a bunch of things. So I've been focusing on those. Like, family came over from East Coast and that sort. So, you can't always focus all your attention on a talk. And I try getting other people to do it, but, people it's not their priority list too, so I can't force people to do a talk that they don't want to do. So besides that, I wanted to start this with it's like a movie quote. I'm pretty sure some of you will know it if you watch like this movie series, but I'm gonna tell you guys everything. I'm gonna tell you how to get your servers big, like what I used. I'm gonna tell you every little thing that I've done just to get more money, get bigger. Like all these little secrets people have kept on the low, even I've kept on the low. Like I don't care anymore. I'm gonna tell everything to everyone now. That you guys can spread it, you guys can do whatever you want with it, get as big as you want, oversaturate the industry. I don't care. The first thing I'm gonna start with is it's a quote by Sylvester Stallone in his Rocky Balboa series, and I used to watch these movies all the time. Like these movies are really great. Like they got a lot of motivational speeches in it, and they have a lot of hidden meanings behind it too. His son was complaining to him saying like, oh, I can't do this because of this, I can't do this because of you, because of him. And he stops in the middle of the sidewalk, he turns around.
Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, now go out and get what you're worth. But you gotta be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you wanna be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that.
So that's just one of the little things I wanted to go over, is just don't blame anyone else. Like always push forward. I don't blame other people. If I do, I'll blame my developer on something. I'll be like, damn man, like you just messed up this plugin. Like, yeah, that's his fault. But other things like why the server's not progressing, why you can't market it, that stuff, you can't blame it on other people. So if you hire a marketing guy, make sure that, hey, you read everything on him and like that that he's able to achieve it, because if he can't do it, that's on you, not him. When it comes to making servers, I've owned a lot of servers. I've owned probably 10, 15 servers, but only around 7 or 8 of them have been successful. The first like 8 that I've gone through, they all failed. Like it just fail after fail after fail after fail after fail after fail after fail. And finally, I think I told you guys in that talk, like I got that $300 loan from my dad, and I spent day and night on it. I actually quit football that entire year just to focus on that server, and that wasn't an important year because it was my junior year, but still, it's a really important year. I focused so much on the server to where I made it, and you won't make it right in the beginning. No one has. Everyone that tells you that they made it right in the beginning is a liar. There's people in this chat that have spent over $10,000 on the server and failed. They lost all their money. It happens. Like if you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna waste everything. It doesn't matter how much money you have or how much knowledge you have in certain aspects of the server. Like if you don't know all around what to do, you're gonna fail. So the secret to the like $300 loan thing I had was I spent the money in every cheap aspect I could, but in the most high quality that I could. So with servers is when you start it up, you gotta like, to me, like I can make a full-fledged server in like $500, release it and get it like 100 players. But if you don't have money, which a lot of people don't, get the $300. If you don't have $300, take as much money as you can and make as much with it as you can. So get a good host. If you need to save money on hosting, go with the shared host. Go with like Shockbyte or some other, shared hosting company that will give you lots of RAM with good hardware for a very cheap price. And that's what I did in the beginning. I went with Shockbyte. I got their 16 gigabyte plan. I paid like $40 a month for it, and that was back when I didn't know anything about Linux. So you get that. That's your hosting. You need the builds. Go to your friend. Be like, hey man, don't sell a percentage of your server. Never do that. That's the worst thing you can do. But tell them, hey, I'll give you money like when I can, or say, hey, like I'll pay you this much and then this much after. Just there's certain people, believe it or not, if you look in MC Market, or if you look in Planet Minecraft, wherever you want to recruit builders, there's a lot of people with hidden talent that you don't realize, and that won't charge that money that those bigger guys want. So for instance, I used to order a lot of my builds from this one, damn, what was his name? I think it was like Rapid Rhino. I think that was his name. He was a really chill guy. Like, he had a lot of hidden talent. He didn't charge me like the big prices that everyone else was charging. That was great. So you got to look for those guys that charge cheaper prices and have the same talent as those bigger guys, because there's lots of people like that. It's building. Like, it's not something only one person can be good at. It's something that everyone can be good at. So keep that in mind when it comes to builders. Developers, like, I don't know, just find some random guy. It doesn't have to be the best developer. Get something that works. If it's not TPS friendly, if it's not if it's a little buggy, like, and it still works, that'll get you fine. Now I'm going to give you the secret of how I got the server big without any money, because that's something I've never revealed. I used to sell this secret for like a couple $100s a piece. Say you have a server, 0 players, very nicely made server, and it's like everything is nice about it. Or say you have like a mediocre mid-type server, like it's alright. As long as it works fine, it has all the basics of the server type. So if it's factions, it needs, you know, the F-top, it needs all this other random crap. If you have that, go on the listing sites. This is how I got a 40 player base every single time. It takes about a month. I know, it's free though, that's the thing. It takes a couple weeks for it to start working out. You have to do it every single day, 3 times a day. I literally did that with my first server in order to gain a 40 player base. I did that. You go on.org, so that's minecraftservers.org. If you go in the back of minecraftservers.org, you're gonna see a bunch of servers. Like, go to the bottom of the page, click that button that takes you to the back of it. Now, if you go to the back, there's a bunch of servers being spammed. Those are all those server owners that have no money and that are trying to get more players, because believe it or not, a lot of people look at the back of the page. Like, you'll get, every time you post in the back 3 or 4 times, you'll get like probably 10-15 unique joins. Like, that's a bump on Planet Minecraft, believe it or not. So go ahead, get a banner. They don't do it right too, that's the thing. I'm gonna teach you how to do it right. You go, you spam it, you post it 3 or 4 times to where it posts it at the top. So get the top 4 slots of the back page. You post it, you take the top 4. Each time you post it with a different server game mode. So the first one, post it factions, PvP, raiding, hardcore, you know, TNT. The second one, post prison, skyblock, sky wars, mini games, blah blah blah. The third one, post random things like Pixelmon, kit PvP, I don't know, like all these random game modes. Put it in the tags of it and then post it. You can only have 5 max, so in each one, put it in. If it's a custom game mode, I think you can put custom on it. So you upload that, you put it 3-4 times. You don't get banned, so don't worry about this. You will not get banned. You upload it, and you do that 3-4 times. Each time you get like 15 unique joins, and then you delete it, and you do it like again once you can get to the top of the back page. So make sure your 4 servers are always at the top, not at the bottom, not at the middle, but at the top. And then you keep deleting the servers and you repost it, deleting the servers, repost it. Yes, the same animated banner of each one. You want to use the same exact one. You don't want to use different ones because then it's going to confuse people. Use the same IP too, use the same description. If you want to make it fast, how do you get them to the top? You have to just wait, honestly. Like, you just keep looking, refreshing, and wait for like 15 or 20 at the bottom of 15 or 20 to be listed on the next page, and then that's when you start posting, because then your post is going to be moved to the top. So that's one way right there you're going to get unique joins. I did that for like, I want to say 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, and I gained a 40 player base, but that's not the only thing I did. So after you do that, that's one part. Make sure you do the different game modes. The second part is Planet Minecraft. When you go on Planet Minecraft, make a post, make a huge forum post on there advertising your server. That will legit get you lots of posts. Have your players always post on there. Have other people post on there constantly. When you bump your submission, bump it at this time. The time we're having this talk right now is the time you will get the most amount of joins in the world. Just because, one, this is like a midpoint in the world. So right now it's noon for me. It's 3 p.m. EST for the East Coast in the United States, and a lot of Canadian and, you know, South American people. And then if you go in the UK, it's like 7, 8, 9 o'clock right now. And then people after that, it's a little bit later or a little bit before, but it's the same thing right there. Yeah, you see? So it's like a central time that everyone will join, because 8 p.m. a lot of people just finished homework, they're chilling on their computer, and they want to play on a Minecraft server like these kids. Number 3 is, it's Minecraft forums. I haven't done it in a while, but if you go on Minecraft forums, don't make a thread design, just make a really nice thread about your server, advertising it. it still gets a lot of traffic. It doesn't matter if it's super old. Planet Minecraft is old. MinecraftServers.org is old. Minecraft itself is old. Go on Minecraft forums, make a thread post on your server, and post on it, dude. Like, just post, have all your players post on it. No, not the curse one. Oh, maybe it is the curse one, actually. I'm not sure. Have all your players post on it. Have it bumped constantly. That's another thing. That's going to get you a lot of players. And then do the same thing on Engine. You want to go on Engine, you want to go post on there, say, hey, this is my server. You'll get a lot of people wanting to play on servers too. And the thing is, there's lots of people, believe it or not, that want to play on smaller servers. So once your server is new, there's going to be a lot of people that are attracted to your server because it's new, it's small, and it doesn't have a bunch of oversaturated players. So you do that, and yeah, you get it on as many platforms as possible, but on the right ones. Because if you're going on all these random ones, that's, at the end of the day, it's not worth it. But these are the main ones, like go on Planet Minecraft, post, bump at 12 o'clock, go on .org, post at, 3-4 times a day, make sure it's at the back of the listing, put different server game modes, make sure it's at the top, at the back. And staff hunters are the best people to have on your server. I don't know why people hate those guys. I love them. They actually help your server. Yeah, so for instance, if there's a staff hunter on your server that says apply, be like, yeah, man, apply here. Even if they just joined 30 seconds in and they say, how do I apply for staff? Let them apply for staff. Be like, here's the link. Let them get active on the server so there's more people on the server. Let them donate for the server thinking that, hey, I'm going to have a bigger chance of being staff on the server just because I'm a donator. Because a lot of people are like that. They'll donate just to get staff, and then when they don't get it, they'll charge back. And then, I got my super OG MC chargeback script that I post on PayPal, and I win every single chargeback. That was my biggest secret when it came to getting free players. I did that every single day for, the couple weeks that I did, and I gained a lot of players. I'm not stingy with everything like everyone else is. I used to be, I won't lie. Like, I didn't want everyone to succeed just because that took away from my success, but I still made it to where I would allow people to join my success. Like, I would allow opportunities to other people. I would present them with it, like, hey, join me, you can get this amount of money, you can get this amount of like server ownership benefit. Like, I've given that to so many people and they just hate on it, and I have no clue why. For services now, I already talked about servers. Just use that free method. I don't want to talk about anything else strictly related to that, unless you want me to go over monetizing your server, like how to make the most money. Like, I remember there was a couple servers that were like the same player base as mine. I had 150 on, they had 150 on. They were making like 3 to 7K, and I was beating them by like legit $4,000 just because the way that I set up my Minecraft store. And if you beat them by that much, obviously it's not the game modes, because we had the same exact game modes. They actually had one more than me. The only reason I made more money than them was because of how I set up my store. You have to, like, if you want me to go over that, do I register service as a company? No, I find that stupid. I don't know why. Like, it's just so much work. Like, you don't need to. I'm doing that right now. Sorry, like, I just did call it stupid. I'm doing it now, but that's for other reasons, because of other companies I have, and that's for tax purposes. But besides that, like, you don't need that. You really don't need to register your server as a company unless you're making over $40,000 a month. What I always did with my stores is I always put a lot of things on there that you don't need. That's like one of my biggest secrets. Is a lot of people will put something on there that they strictly need. So if you have factions, they'll just put the ranks, they'll put the rank upgrades, money, MCMMO crates, and kits. But I always try to surpass that. So I always put things like abilities, or I'll put things like items, like random items. Like if they want to buy spawners, let them buy spawners, because a lot of people will spend money on that. So realistically speaking, it's just about oversaturating your store. So go into your store and just add. Just add everything you can, everything possible, but make sure it matches with your economy of the server. So if you have spawners on there, don't have one spawner for $10. Like, that's not right. But also make sure that if you have a spawner on there for $10 and you have $100,000 on there for $10, make sure that in game the spawner costs $100,000 too, because you have to price match it with everything else, or else your entire economy is going to get screwed. So first, always base it off the money, then base it off the items. So I always added items like spawners. I added items that people wanted, like blocks. Crate keys were my biggest money maker besides ranks. I always added 4 types of crate keys. Add a lot of things in your crates. Like, crates make so much money, it's insane. Like, right behind, like, ranks make thousands and thousands a month. Right after that, it's crate keys that are making thousands and thousands a month, because crate keys, people don't just buy it one time. People will buy it like 5 times. They'll use it. If they don't get something good, they'll buy it again 5 times. It's like a casino. They're just cashing in their little like coins and using the slot. It's super addictive for people. So you don't want to scam them. So put good stuff in the crate keys. Like, don't let these kids spend their hard-earned parents' money. Like, let them get something good. So make sure your crates are really good. Yeah, you see, we're not going to just scam them. We want them to actually get stuff too. So for instance, each of your crates, you're going to obviously make it a higher tier. So the first one, you're going to have the same stuff as the second one, except the second one, you're going to have the better ones have better chances, and you can add better items. So percentages, yeah, like you said, you put for the ranks very low, but put something that is obtainable every like certain amount of people. Like for my crates, I worked the system out where like every 100 people or every 100 keys for like the legendary, a free rank upgrade will be given to them. It's just all based on the percentage. So if you have to calculate, it's going to take a couple of hours, but if you do it the right way, there's like a whole system behind it that'll make you a lot more money. So, make sure with voting too, you add vote crates, because if you have a voting key, they use the voting key and they use it on the crate, and then they get a rare key and they're like super hyped, and then they use it on the rare crate and they're like, damn, I gotta try this again. So now you have the rare crate on the store, and boom, they come there and they start buying it. So always have crates, have MCMMO, have money, have ranks, have rank upgrades. Even things that are in the ranks, have it separate. So for instance, if you have something in the rank, like for me, I had something called angel wings. So people could have angel wings on the back, and it's like, I don't know, it's super cool, and they give them like night vision. And I added that in the ranks, but if people didn't want to buy the rank, I used to always have it separately too. So I had it separately, but for a very, very low price. And that's just because there's a lot of people that can't buy the ranks, even though my cheapest rank was like $2.50 or like $5. Just have that. And another secret with that is I put the prices really high for my ranks. So for instance, my first rank, you start at like $10 and you put a 50% off sale to have it at $5. Most people will have it at $5 and put like a 10% off sale and have it, at $4.50. You want to have a big sale that makes the players want to buy more, because they're like, oh, like it gets into their head. They're like, oh, there's a big sale, I gotta buy this now. So you put the prices super high and you put the sales super high, and the outcome of the ranks or the items, whatever it is, like after the sale is basically the same price. But you don't want to make it too obvious. Yeah, the Arkham Network 95% off sale, that's too much. There's servers that put their starting rank at $600 and put a 99% off sale, and then it comes out to like $5 for the first rank. You don't want to do something like that. That's really stupid. That doesn't make you the maximum amount of money. And like you guys are bringing up Ultra, Velt PvP, all them. That's why those guys aren't making the maximum amount of money they can. Because I remember Ultra's YouTubers came to me and they're like, yeah, we're not making as much money. I'm like, are you making at least like 15K because you have 3,000 players? And they're like, no. I'm like, Jesus, like this guy has 3,000 players and they're not making that type of money. But you have to set it smart. So first rank, put it $10, put a 50% off sale. Boom, $5. Like that's how you want to do it. The first rank should be very cheap, something very achievable by other people. That's what I always do. A lot of people are always on to what's the next big thing for a server. So with factions, when Envoys first came out, like, oh, that was the biggest thing. Or when Koths came out, oh, that was the biggest thing. Realistically speaking, you don't have to come out with the next biggest thing. You can just use what the next biggest thing is on another server and make it better. That's what I always did. I always waited for like some big, faction server, some big skyblock server, something else. I waited for them to come out with updates, and I would look at what they did. I would look at all the flaws in it, and I would look at what people wanted fixed and that the server wasn't fixing, and I would do all of that. So I remember with when Envoys first came out, it was really big, and there was a lot of them everywhere, and people were getting too much stuff too fast, so they were getting a lot of op loot, and it's not good for the server economy, so the server starts breaking down. So what I did was I took the Envoy concept and I made it into a care package, like PUBG or Modern Warfare. So I took that and I made it one single care package with a bunch of effects, like a bunch of flying colors, and I made it an extremely op care package. Like I didn't make it just one thing, or a bunch of things. I made it just one thing. So I'll put a bunch of things in that crate, and then everyone just goes crazy. Like, it starts popping up in chat, hey, there's a crate dropping in 30 minutes or in 30 seconds at this location, be ready. And there's a bunch of people just fighting at that location, and people are like going crazy over it. There's stupid little things you have to think about when it comes to the concept of gaming. So for factions is, you know, I always use one exit spawns just because that's the best, because you can correlate the PvP to go all in one direction in front of Warzone, in front of spawn, rather than 4 exit spawns where it's split 4 ways and you don't have the same central PvP, like just the amount of people PvPing in one location. Whereas if you have that one exit, everyone's in front of spawn, there's a bunch of people there, like it's fun, it's magical, like that's what gets people hyped. So you got to look at simple things like that is what's going to make your server bigger and better. If I had 200 players on the network and factions just hit 100 for the first time and Skyblock just hit 100 for the first time, I'm going to go on both those servers. I'm going to do a drop party right when it hits the peak. I'm going to announce it saying, hey, 5 minutes until drop party. I'm going to put it at like the top spawn, wherever you want to do it, and I just start dropping stuff. And I'll drop really good stuff, not to where it ruins the economy, but to where the players are happy. And those new players that just stayed will come back because they have a bunch of stuff already. And they're just going to keep coming back, inviting their friends like, hey, I got all this stuff. And the rotation continues. So you keep doing that, you know, that drop party system, and you'll get more players. Servers, making them is so simple, so easily. It's easy, man. And at the end, I'll take on all your questions. Like if you have personal ones, like, oh, how did I do this? How did I do that? Like, I'll answer it too. But for servers wise, that's how you get servers big. It's so simple. Just market your store very well to make the most money. Add as much stuff as you can. Add as much good stuff as you can. Make sure your crates are good. Make sure you got reliable stuff on there that, you know, in server that's fun. Don't have it be poopy. Don't have it be bad. Don't have it be like every other server. Just make it nice. I use Paper Spigot because you can optimize it better. Use that free method I told you. I legit got a lot of players from that. If you don't have money, that's how you do it. I'd rather spend the money rather than do that for a month. So if you have money, if you have like $4,000 or $5,000, just spend it on slot or YouTubers. That's what I'll do. And that's it for the server wise. It's really simple. Like just keep doing that. You'll make more money each time. Drop parties are a big thing. You know, factions are a big thing. Skyblock is a big thing. Go with core game modes. Just simple thing like that. This is what I do this a lot. I use ideas of other people and I make it greater. So the original service, I'm talking about the first one that ever came out that had more than one service, was George Housley, the guy who scammed me. He's banned on MC Market now, but it was his thing called Invar Market. So Invar Market it used to be just builds and nice, Parker, I appreciate that. Alright, so Invar Market, it used to be just builds and setups. So what they did is it was just a non-exclusive builds and setup supplier. So it was just a store and they had builds, they had setups, and then they had like a little contact section saying like, if you need custom builds or setups, contact us. And it made a lot of money for how much stuff it had. Like it only had like 3 or 4 things on each thing, and they were making like $2,000 a month off that. And it wasn't bad. Like I was like, wow. And I told him like, hey, let me buy it off you. And he finally wanted to sell it to me for a while. Invar Market, the concept they had and the idea they had was great. So I took that concept and I went how I originally started on Minecraft, and I created a service business like thing where I had every single service, and I was the first one. Minecraft was the first ever one. So I started with legit developing, graphics, building. Like I took all that, I recruited all these guys that had nowhere to work at, and I added them all together. And then there was a whole lot of drama with Invar Market saying I copied them, even though I had more things than them, and I did system administration, all that stuff. I started that, and I didn't have a lot of people work with me. Like I literally had 3 or 4 people. One guy did the builds, one guy did the development, and one guy did the web development. And I think I had one manager who like got us commissions because I did all the system administration and setups. So we got from there, and we're getting setups and commissions like crazy, to the point where I had to hire more people. And I'll address the Angelo situation at the end too, because there's a lot that's going to go into that. Like I'm contacting people. Alright, so for everyone that has a service industry, the number one thing that you guys are missing, and I've noticed this throughout all of you, is you don't have a sense of shame. That's the one thing. You guys need a sense of shame. That's the one thing you guys don't have. When it comes to shame, you guys don't No, this is dead serious. You guys don't have shame. For instance, you guys are slamming people in shoutbox. You guys are legit like I see people who are supposed to be very reputable or supposed to be like, oh, the top notch of this. You guys are in shoutbox calling each other names. You guys are over here trashing other people's threads. You guys are over here saying I'm better than him, he's better than that, or over here defending that person over something stupid. Like you guys are acting like little kids, and I understand none of you are 18 yet. Some of you are, some of you are in your 20s. I'm 18. Like I started all this when I was 14. But some of you are legit 15, 16. That was the age like I was taking on a high level of football at. Like I was versing guys that were going to be NFL athletes. Like at 15, 16, you got to realize, man, you can't be slamming people like that just because it's online. Like if this was real life, people would fight you. You can't just like act like a little kid every single time. So there's a certain point where you have to grow up, and I think the reason that Minecraft strived so well in the beginning is just because like I had that sense of maturity, and I tried to hire people that had a sense of maturity too. So when you look back on yourself, look at your sense of shame. Have some shame in like what you do. Have some like, I don't know how to describe it. Like I'm not the best with words, but just think about shame every time you do something. When you go back in that shout box, when you post on something, think about, hey, is this right? Or have a sense of morality too. Like when you go and you giving someone a price, try to give them a fair price. That's what I always did with people too. So in the beginning, I charged cheap prices just because I was trying to get my name out there. Like legit for a setup, my setup started at 50 bucks. Like later on, I'll start my setups at like 150, but at the beginning, you give them 50 bucks for what you can give. For instance, if you're a new guy and you have no name or you have no like reputation and you have no sense of client base, you have to charge a small price for something you can't do or something people don't know you can do. And always in a sense go the full way. Like I remember I've ordered things from people where I've given them a good amount of money. I gave a guy like 250, 300 bucks for a website, and he came back to me with the crappiest thing in the world, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, this is your website. And I'm like, no, you didn't put all your time. Like I looked at his portfolio and I'm like, this is not the same type of work you've been doing. And it's because people are like, oh, if I be lazy, he's just a Minecraft kid, I'll be lazy, I'll take his money, I'll give him something little, and we'll call it a day. Like that's not how it works in the real world. Maybe in Minecraft you can do that, but only for how long, or for how long are you gonna do that? Okay, so what about service companies that ask for your budget and then take your full budget even though you could have got it for $20? That's another thing. There's companies that will do that, or little service guys that will do that just to get more money. So if something should cost $20 and you say, oh, I got 50, and they're like, okay, we'll do it for 50, like that's wrong in the sense of them. That's considered dirty money. Like I have a sense of morality when it comes to that, like just in my religion and the way I grew up. I can't take that money. You gotta, if someone asks you like what's your budget, hit them back up with, oh, how much do you charge for this, or how much is this certain service worth? Don't let them know your budget, okay? Unless it's something like advertising, or it's something like there's different packages for that. You like let them know your budget, but besides that, you should have fixed rates, just like a taxi or just like an actual service provider. You have to have fixed rates. I always did that. Like everything I did had a fixed rate. Okay, Zen4 setup, MySQL setup, this much money. Oh, this much money for that. Always have a starting price, have a midpoint price depending on the difficulty, things like that. You don't want to just take money from people just because you can. And that's the reason I grew so much, because people would come to me and they're like, hey, how much do you charge for this? And I told them straight up, and they're like, damn, I only have this much. And I'm like, and I'd ask them the reason, why do you have that much? And they'd give me a story, and they're like, oh, I've been working doing this to get this money. And I'm like, you know what, I'll take it. Like, that's fine. That's why I grew, is because I listened to people. I understood their story, and I was like, you know what, that's a good reason on why he doesn't have his money. So I took his money and I gave him what he couldn't get with other people for that money. And that's why you gain trust of others, you gain that following, and you gain that friendship. So right there, you just made a friend, and someone that's gonna back you up through everything. So when other people are, bashing on you, you just made someone that's gonna back you up and bash on them back. When it comes to services, always treat people with respect too. So when someone comes to you and they're kind of rude, it's a sense of customer service. Like just give them that customer service. Be nice. There's people that were super rude to me in the beginning just because they've had a bad day, or just because they've hit up all these other services, and I didn't hit them back up with rudeness. I just hit them back up with facts, or like with, hey, this is what we do, and I'll just hit them up with that customer service like ability, and they'll understand like, hey, this guy's being nice, and they'll start being nice back, and boom, you get the sale. That's how you grow. Look into that customer service, look into humility, shame, look into yourself, look into the people that you hire. Don't get someone just because they can do this. Look at how they act as a person. Like if you go into job offers or job interviews, they don't care. If they look at two people, they look at the more qualified person first, but if that first qualified person has a bad attitude, they're not going to hire him. And, you know, as a service provider too, if someone comes at you like cursing and all that, you do have the right to just turn them away. Be like, hey man, I'm going to block you just because you're doing this, and then let them know. And if they add you back and they're like, sorry for that, like, hey, start working with them. That's how you get more money. That's how you get that friendship, that following. Look into that when you're doing a service provider. Legit, all I grew with was being nice to people, giving them fair prices, and trying to help people in the situation that we're in. So if someone comes to you with a story on why they have this much money and it's only a couple dollars less, like if you're doing something for 50 and they only have like 43, like dude, just do it for 43. Like stop being cheap, man. It's $7. It's not gonna kill your life. Would you do various services or specialize in one? If you don't have the friends to do various, don't do various. If you have the friends to do various, do various. I've tried to settle down on the more strict, like that's why I do advertising and managing now. I don't even do that, like I don't have time for that. I'm more into e-commerce now, which I'm going to explain at the end why I'm not doing these talks anymore. Just do what you want to do. If you want to specialize in one thing, make that as big as you can. Become the next great artist or the next great setups guy. I don't know what Jenkins Designs is, Ben, man. Stop asking me about your own thing. And that's the secret with service. It's so simple, but it's something you guys are all missing. And I'm not saying every one of you. I don't know each and every one of you down to your like heart and soul, but I know a lot of you, just looking at your threads, just looking at the way you talk to people, you talk to them like you're better than them. You talk to them like, oh, my service is better than yours, when in reality, like, you haven't met the people that are making a lot more money than you and that are making a lot more clientele and that are doing such bigger things than you. You got to realize that. Like, if you just made a $500 deal, dude, don't think you're big. Someone else probably just made a $5,000 deal. I've never been at the top. The top is always going to be Hypixel, for instance. And the worst part about this whole service thing is a lot of you try to bring each other's services down. Don't do that. Try to build each other up. So I know Envoy Market was always trying to shoot Minecrypt down. They're like, oh, they do this, they do that. They don't even have those services I had, which made no sense. And these guys were trying to shoot me down. Like, I didn't even talk to them. I didn't know anything about them. But for real, they still all kept coming at me. Like, he would try to hire people to come on my threads and bash me for no reason. And I'm like, yo, what the hell? So these people would come to me and they're like, yo, why do you do this? I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I've never even heard about this. And you gotta try to make people join you rather than against you. So if you have an enemy, that's what I always did. Like, I took people that owned other services and I brought them in with me. Like, grow yourself, don't grow others, or don't go against others. How do you grow as a manager from $5 jobs to 1,000? That's the same thing. You have to start at the bottom. So get those $5 jobs and slowly start growing them. Start getting those connections with their friends. Start getting those connections with clients that are making you money. Start like charging them more for the more work you're doing. So if you see like, hey, I'm doing a $5 job, when in reality all these other guys are charging like 50 to 300 bucks for, and I'm doing all this work, like, hey, let this guy know, like, dude, I need some more money, man. Like, I can't be doing this for $5 forever. But say it in a nice and pleasant way. Don't be like, yo, you owe me 50 more bucks. Don't be greedy, a hog about it. And that's how a lot of people are on MC Mark. They're just greedy. Don't be greedy, man. And let me get on that topic too. If you guys are gonna ask someone for help, don't go, this is how you create enemies. This is the thing. You can't compete with someone that's bigger than you and then say all these things about them. So for instance, if you guys want to make friends, don't go and ask them for help and then go like 30 seconds later behind their back and say crap about them. So for instance, if you guys name, like, I don't know, say Hypixel you came up to Hypixel, you know the guy, and you asked him, hey, like, can I manage for you? I need to learn a lot and you know a lot about this. Don't go when he says, I'll think about it, or maybe not, like, just because I have a person. Don't go behind their back and be like, oh, this guy's, you know, he's a scammer, blah, blah, blah. Just because you didn't get the position. Because one, you just made an enemy with the person you don't want. Number two, you just made an enemy that you don't need in general. And number three, you just did a childish statement that proves your own self-worth. A lot more clients like that too. So if you want money, be nice. If you want friends, be nice. Like, I think it sums it up. Be nice if you want more stuff. But if you see at times that, for instance, I'm rude too. Yeah, I understand. I'm rude to some people just because I have to be. Because there's people that are rude to me so often that you got to be rude to them back. You have to show them their place and that, like, in a sense, what they are to what they're doing. So if someone's super rude that thinks they're super high up, and in reality they don't have a dime in their pocket and they don't have a friend at their side, you got to put them in their place. Just remember that there's not, people have to be taught a lesson sometimes, and that's a real life, like, that's a real life story, man. I mean, that's it for this talk, guys. This is gonna be my last talk ever. I hope you guys enjoyed.